The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
I'm the other host, Warren Van.
It is episode 46 of the Warren and Bradley Show, coming at you from a beautiful Bellingham, Washington.
Indian summer here in Bellingham.
Indian summer, Injun summer, as it's officially pronounced, spreading way into October. It's October 7th when we're recording this, and it's, 70 degrees out?
It's lovely.
We're at that point of the year now, though, where it's like 37 degrees at night, so you wake up and go, "Ah, Jesus Christ," and then in the middle of the day, you're wearing your little sweater and footy pajamas. Footy pajamas?
The middle of the day.
Yeah. I was thinking of people walking around in footy pajamas, but that doesn't really happen.
No,
very
because
often.
it would wear off the footy part. I've noticed that in the heat, I usually just fall asleep without any blankets.
Yeah.
So I've still been doing that, but then waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and actually having to put blankets on.
Well, yeah, and I go to sleep with my windows wide open, and I'm naked. And then I wake up like, freezing. But then the trouble is I get up at like 5:30 in the morning to go to work, and it's 36 degrees, so I have to bundle up, and then I'm working in my bundled up clothing, and then by the middle of the day, it's 70 degrees, so I have to strip off all these layers.
It's difficult.
It's irritating.
Yeah.
These problems that we face every day in our lives. I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know if it's worth going on.
No.
It's just, I want to put on one set of clothing and wear it for the whole day.
Well, that's why you're a big fan of it being 44 degrees and overcast just constantly.
Well, no, 54.
54 and overcast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine.
That's the prime temperature. That's perfect because you can wear a light jacket, maybe a t-shirt. You're never too hot, never too cold. You could do some exertion, some physical exertion, run around a little bit. You're not going to start sweating like a motherfucker. When I lived in LA and you'd be wearing a tank top and you're walking down the street at a normal pace, you would just start sweating. Yeah. And that's annoying.
That is annoying. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
We have one announcement right off the bat. We want to spread some...
Oh, big news.
Some cheer, some joy to our good friend Chance McKenney. He's been selected as the Savvy Service Star of the Month at the Bellingham Food Co-op.
Congratulations, Chance.
So, congratulations to Chance
We were
McKenney.
notified of this last night, and we were both just thunderstruck by this announcement.
Yes. If you're in the Bellingham area and want to get a cappuccino, perhaps, or a triple mocha latte, and you're near the Bellingham Food Co-op, go see our good friend Chance McKenney.
You want some savvy service.
He is the Savvy Service Star. I'm assuming that just means Employee of the Month.
I'm going to go with that, too. Yeah,
for a 10-year-old. It's like...
Probably just rotates
I hate
every
when
one of them.
businesses treat employees like 10-year-olds. It's like, oh, we're going to give you a gold star. Good job. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I don't think that really reinforces anything for the employees, does
No,
it?
I think they just kind of think of it as a joke. But from what I can tell...
Let's not minimize Chance's accomplishment.
No, it was an amazing accomplishment. But from what I can tell, this is all very interesting to anyone who does not live in Bellingham. But
or shop at the co-op.
Yeah, I think everyone who works at the co-op, except for our good friend Chance McKenney, is stoned all the time. It's one of those places where everyone is smoking pot constantly and drunk constantly.
Wow.
They sell organic food, and I think that just kind of goes hand in hand.
You're accusing the employees at the co-op of being drunk on the job?
I think most of the time. I'm not judging. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that just seems to be the case. Because I know when they close, you walk by there at like 10 at night, and they're all sitting on the steps drinking pretty much every night.
It's also a very good place probably to have a street freak of the week, I think, too, because there's often many homeless people sitting in front of that place.
From what I can tell, some of the encounters Chance has had, any of you who haven't heard the podcast before, he's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, in case you just happen to stumble on the show, episode 46, and start listening.
A friend of the show. He often talks about encounters with college freaks. So I don't get the college encounters usually. I get the street freak encounters. Speaking of which, we will have a street freak of the week this week.
Yeah.
Quite excellent. It actually happened last night when I was out with Warren Van, my co-host, and several other friends. We were in a local establishment, the Ranch Room, and I went into the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now I remember this. You emerged from the bathroom saying, I have a street freak. And I was very excited.
I was well pleased, but I couldn't tell anyone what had happened at the time. I had to save it for the show for you, the listener. That's how much we care about you. So what's been going on with you, Warren?
Oh, absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
The Victorian Dandies, I know a lot of people are following my fantasy football team.
We didn't have a fantasy football update
No,
last
actually
week.
Lost last week, so I slid to 3-1. But
3-1.
Right now, things are looking really good. I really got off to a good start this morning. So I think, barring some sort of catastrophe, I think I'm going to win this week and go to 4-1. I assume I'm in first place. I'll be in first place after this week. I don't think anyone's 5-0.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
I was frightened by a text message from Warren the other day. We record every Sunday normally, and I got a text message from you saying that you were going to be out of town for several days. Was this on Thursday that you sent me
This was on Thursday.
Yeah, I get a text message from Warren saying, I will be out of town Sunday. I think I texted you back and asked you how long you were going to be gone. You said you were going to be gone for a week. It's like, since when is this going on? And basically, Warren is crazy and suddenly decides that he's going to rent a car, drive all the way to San Diego, and then fly back from San Diego and be gone for 6 days or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
That.
I just woke up in the morning and I got up and I decided that I was like, I need to go for a trip.
Yeah.
So I planned this whole trip out, and then by that afternoon, I decided that I didn't really feel like doing the trip.
Yeah.
So I sort of canceled the trip. Yeah, but
so you're going to drive 1,800 miles alone?
No, actually, I think it would have been about 2,100 miles.
2,100. Okay.
Yeah, I would have going to go.
Were you just going to go down I-5?
No. I was going to take
Coast
the
Highway?
other way. I was going to go. No. The other way.
Oh.
That was the whole interesting part. I was going to go to Bend, Oregon, to Reno, to Las Vegas, to Flagstaff, Arizona.
Have you ever driven around Nevada?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. No. That's, it would have been interesting, but I decided in the final analysis, I was like, I don't feel like doing that trip. So I canceled it, and that's why I'm here to record today.
Yes. I was contemplating having to put together a clip show or something, or...
I know. I kind of stressed you out, I think.
No, I mean, I actually kind of warmed up to the idea of, I would have had to listen through hours and hours of shows to pick things out.
Yeah.
But I was also amused by the idea of having you here in computer form. So basically, I could just take a bunch of horrible quotes from you out of context.
Which savvy listeners should know.
You saying things like, I'm going to fuck you in the ass or something. And yeah.
But I know at one point you wanted to frame a segment better.
Yeah.
And you kind of dropped me going, or yes in it. And it sounded natural, sort of, except for I didn't remember having that conversation.
There is, I don't know if this will come as a shock to any of the listeners, but there is some manipulation and editing going on. Some of it to make us sound less stupid when we're talking.
Because we do a lot of humming and hawing and stuff like that. There's a lot of awkward pauses like that.
Or just mispronouncing words, things like that.
But 2 weeks from today, I will be gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably be able to record it a different day.
Yeah,
but if not,
we'll
have a clip show. If we do have a clip show, we'll make an announcement on Twitter, and you fans of the show can nominate your favorite segment.
Is that really what you want to do? We're not going to get any response to that.
Yeah, we will.
You think people are going to actually say things that they like?
They probably
and
will,
hear
but
again?
I probably won't agree with them. So then I'll just pick the things that I want to put on there anyway. But we have a huge back catalog. We have a huge black Cadillac. A huge back catalog
We have a big
now.
black Cadillac.
Yeah.
There's 45 shows, right?
Yeah. There's over 40 hours of the Warren and Bradley show. Anyone who's, if you've ever discovered an amazing television series or a series of novels or something that you've never read, and you realize, there's 3 seasons that I have to go through, and I just have hours and hours of sublime television viewing in front of me. I would envy anybody who just now has stumbled across the Warren and Bradley show, because they can look back and there's hours.
Oh, yeah.
Hours to listen to.
They'll be entertained for many days.
Yes. You have something to look forward to.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
I don't have anything to look forward to.
No, you don't.
No. I saw something disturbing last night as I was walking downtown to meet you and our friends. Walking by the convenience store on the corner here, the one I frequent, there was a horribly white trash couple, big fat chick with a stroller, and skinny, weird, tattooed dude with a shaved head. They were arguing on the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk, so I had to kind of walk around them into the street.
Yeah.
And while they were shrieking at each other, there was a little, probably 3-year-old daughter there's this little grassy area near the gas station, kind of in between the gas pumps and the sidewalk.
A quaint little park area.
She was sitting there in a diaper.
Yeah.
And she was 3 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
That's easier for the parents.
Yeah,
I'm
they
sure.
don't want to bother potty training her or something. Wearing nothing but a diaper, screaming on this little grassy area. She was covered in filth, dirt, and smeared. It looked like maybe cream cheese or something all over her face. I don't know what was going on. Her hair was all matted and fucked up. She was this little urchin, and she was just left alone, shrieking and crying as though she had been injured in some way.
Yeah.
Like pounding on the ground. Her parents were just screaming at each other in the sidewalk, not paying any attention to her whatsoever. And I just looked at them and thought, I would like to kill the both of you. And then I would like to take your daughter away and bring her to someone who actually would appreciate the fact that they have a child and actually raise the child and actually care for the child and pay attention to the child. Instead of it being, there's so many people who have children, not even accidentally, but sort of like incidentally. If you or I were to have a kid, that would become the focus of our lives.
Yeah.
Which is why we haven't had kids right now, because we know that that's what would happen. These people just happen to have children, and they don't change anything they do.
Yeah.
It's just an added, like, oh, we better get some slop and throw it to the child every once in a while.
Some cream cheese to rub on its face.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so obnoxious to me.
I know that's one of the themes of the show that we've always come back to, is the fact that if you whatever you want to do with your life, you know what I mean? We don't care. But it's... If you're going to bring a kid into it, then you got to clean up your act.
Right.
I mean, it's just the way it is. You can't involve another person and, force them into your crazy insanity.
Right.
You have to you got to clean it up. You got to start flying a little right. You got to start doing things a little bit more sane. You can't be screaming at each other in Bumtown with a kid on a patch of grass. You got to get a little organized.
It looks like some feral child that's just been roaming around by
you
itself.
have to, have a house. You got to have a job. You got to make sure the kid's well-fed, the kid's in a stable environment. Mm-hmm. You can't just live your usual junky, chaotic life.
And I sort of have this cutoff where, everyone talks about how precious human life is. I don't really find it all that precious.
Those nice air quotes.
Yeah, I was doing air quotes. You guys back at home couldn't see that. But there's a certain point where maybe these people could turn their lives around at some point. I doubt they ever will. They're pretty much worthless to me. I'm not going to go shooting people, go on a spree and be the arbiter of whether or not you should live or die. Their daughter is not worthless. She's a 3-year-old little girl. She has a chance to actually have a life and have a fulfilling life and not be ruined like her parents obviously are. We need to get these children away from these people. We need to sterilize these people.
Oh, no.
And just get rid of them. I don't care. I'm sick of this shit.
What I'm looking forward to is a time when we start putting everyone on birth control, and then you have to make the conscious choice to come off of the birth control to have the kid.
I don't mind. I mean, my whole libertarian thing, I don't want the government to force people to do that, but I certainly wouldn't mind if that just became the norm where...
The default, right?
Yeah.
It would be weird. Maybe if you're Amish or Mormon, you wouldn't put your, 13-year-old daughter on birth control right off the bat.
Right.
But most everyone else does, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe that 13-year-old eventually becomes 27 and gets married and decides to have a family.
Yeah.
Then she goes off of it, and then she has a kid.
And I want it for men and women. Some little subcutaneous thing, you shove it in your hip or something, and it's releasing a hormone all the time. And if you want to have a kid, you have to go to the doctor and have it ripped out.
Yeah. Or you have to make a choice, right? Yeah. In that direction.
Yeah.
Because just the whole accidentally popping out kids, I mean, it may have worked well when we were hunter-gatherer society, and you just take a kid and it's just running along with you and everything's going.
Well,
but you have to have a little. You have to
They were a little more blasé about if you weren't catching enough meerkats or something. I don't know what the fuck they're eating, but you would just kind of you'd expose your child to the elements and just sort of leave it there. They were a little more blasé about that.
But that's not the society we want to live in.
No. Not anymore, because we can take care of these people if the people who raise the children are even remotely responsible.
Yeah.
It is possible.
Well, that's the thing. It's just, it's not even asking that much of the people, right?
And that's what drives me insane is it's not hard to not impregnate somebody. I've been sexually active for a good number of years.
For at least 2 or 3 years, right?
At least.
Yeah.
I have never impregnated anybody.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. It takes just a tiny
bit of foresight. Foresight, right?
Foresight.
You have to think just a little bit ahead, which some people don't do.
That's the other thing, too, where I'm pretty much pro-choice, but what I hate is I've known people who have had multiple abortions, and they use abortions like birth control. I can't be bothered to take a fucking pill or to wear a fucking condom, so I'm going to get pregnant and then just kill the child over and over and over and over again. It's like, I'm pregnant again. Let's go get an abortion.
Well, that's where my... having everyone on birth control right away, that eliminates all those abortions.
I think you should also have a 3 abortion limit, and then you're cut off. You can't be served anymore.
What do you do then after the third?
Sterilize them. Forced sterilization. After 3 fucking abortions, we're sterilizing you.
This is the interesting thing about your arguments you're making is you're going a lot into crazy fascist statements, and then you're saying I'm pretty libertarian, and then you're demanding people be sterilized.
See, this is the conflict that I often find myself in, is that I see people doing ridiculous things and doing horrible damage to themselves and to other people. And in some ways, because those people are so fucking stupid, I want someone to just be an authoritarian and be like, all right, this is the way things are, you idiots. You're not going to be able to do this anymore. You're not going to be able to do this anymore. But then I'm conflicted because I don't want the government to ever tell us to do anything or force us to do anything. So I'm kind of, I'm torn. It's a struggle.
You've got Hitler on one shoulder and Ron Paul on the other, yes. Huh? Just pulling away at you.
They don't get along very well.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Hopefully, we'll get to that point someday.
Yeah,
where we're thinking about it, and I mean that's a sex education thing, and that's just if we want to talk about, I have my disdain for formal education, the fact that everyone's learning like calculus and stuff in high school.
Right.
Let's get these people tuned in on not having kids, unless they're completely plugged in, and like knowing how to work a bank account and things like that.
That is so huge to me that I'm trying to remember if I ever got any instruction on balancing a checkbook and making your monthly budget or anything like that.
I think I had some sort of home ec class or something.
I don't think I ever had anything. I had meal management.
That's what I was going to say. I know we all had to take meal management, as I recall, when we were freshmen.
I learned how to cook a fucking souffle, but you didn't. I mean, I figured out how to do these things after some problems early on in my life, And my parents never told me anything. My parents were very horrible with money too. So I think maybe if you have responsible parents who actually know what the fuck they're doing, hopefully they're imparting that to their children. But
I mean, as far as like life skills, it'll get you through.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that like those things you're learning abstract concepts are going to be of any value to you is not true.
Yeah.
But learning how to like manage your money and show up to work on time and things like that, simple things, and probably read and write, that'll get you through pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not a violent or angry person, you can get through life pretty easily.
I was just talking to our good friend Chance McKinney today about
Savvy Service Star.
Well, the Savvy Service Star Chance McKinney, talking about stupid people. And they're still able to navigate their way through life. You don't have to be intelligent. In fact, intelligence is often a barrier to becoming successful because you think too much about things. You're like, should I be doing
this? Is what you tell yourself. I know.
Yes, I know. But no,
the only reason I'm not a big success is because my massive intelligence.
Right. I think that's self-evident.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think a lot of people do, in life in general, I do, pretty much everyone does, is make things more complicated than they need to be.
Right.
Because really, life is pretty easy if you just kind of chill out and don't worry about things.
Well, and if you can be kind of single-minded and pursue a goal.
Yeah, you can achieve a goal, too.
Right. I often can't do that because I think of all the negatives, all the variables, and I'm like, what's the fucking point? There's a little bit of nihilism creeping in there.
Well, even the idea that, to achieve this goal is going to, give you any satisfaction, which isn't necessarily true.
Yeah, I'm always bad giving advice to people because they're like, I think I'm going to make this change in my life. I'm going to try to do this. And I'm like, it won't make any difference. You're going to feel the same as you do now. And they're like, well, but I think if I get this goal and I pursue it and I achieve it, then I'll really feel satisfied with myself and I'll have a sense of accomplishment. I'm like,
but that's true. I do think that's true.
Well, I think normal people feel that.
You don't think you feel that way?
No.
What if you were working towards some sort of correspondence degree in radio repair or something right now, let's say, and you were accomplished it, and then people were bringing their radios to you and you were repairing them. You don't think you'd have any sense of accomplishment?
I have a weird combination of insanely high self-esteem and insanely low self-esteem where I feel like I could do anything I ever tried to do. I feel like, I could do anything, whatever. And so then if I do accomplish it, I feel no pride in my accomplishments because it's not like it was, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
This is another two people on your shoulders, right?
Yeah.
The extremely confident guy who thinks he's the best at everything and little down the dumps guy on the other shoulder who's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And they're just wrestling with each other. You got a lot of people on these shoulders just hanging out, pulling at you in every direction.
That's why I have back problems.
They wander the streets, scavenging for loose change and discarded cigarette butts.
Beer $1?
And give me a motherfucking cigarette.
I ran out of gas ways back. Got me that.
You smoke weed, don't you?
Good booze in my car.
I could use some change.
They may be mentally unstable and deserving of our charity, but that doesn't mean they can't be selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
This week on Street Freak of the Week, the Street Freak actually occurred in a place where I've never had a Street Freak before. It was at a local bar/cafe called the Horseshoe Cafe.
Famous for the Street Freaks that hang out in front of it.
Yes, there are always Street Freaks in front of the bar, but I actually encountered one inside the bar.
Well, they also, I understand, have this system with the bathroom.
Yes.
Where if they see a Street Freak heading for their bathrooms, they can lock the doors and not let them in.
They're very, very good at preventing Street Freaks from actually entering the establishment.
Yeah.
But they all just stand out there forlorn, hoping. It's like the Shangri-La that they hope to attain. I don't know why. It's like a really dive diner with kind of crappy food.
It's strange.
Yeah. The bar's fun. We frequent it quite often. But anyway, a Street Freak made it through their tight security net.
Yeah.
I got up to go to the bathroom, having drinks with Warren and a few friends. Went in there, and there was somebody... As soon as I opened the bathroom door, I knew something was amiss, because there were two kind of jockey, college douchebaggy guys, and they looked disgusted and ill at ease. And they were in a hurry to leave the bathroom, so they kind of shoved past me and got out of their way. I go inside, and one of the stalls is open, but I could see a pair of knees protruding from the stall and hear this.
Goodness me.
And then the sounds of success occurring. And then, oh, God. Oh, God.
Well, it's weird because it sounds like this was probably going on even before you got there.
Yes.
It was going on multiple times when you were in the... So he must have been, like, backed up for a while.
I don't know. But he was having some trouble, but he was also having some success at the same time, apparently.
Yeah.
There was an odor.
Oh, I imagine so.
It was not pleasant. But as I was quickly urinating at the urinal... trying to get the fuck out of there as quickly as possible. And there was also the stall was open. I don't know why the stall was open, but there was a backpack, a bedroll, basically all his worldly possessions were stacked up in the bathroom. So I quickly tried to pee, got done, started washing my hands, and the guy had finished his
epic session,
epic defecation session. Got up. He was wearing shabby clothing, but you could tell he had really tried hard. He had kind of like faded old slacks. He had this, those flannel shirts that have the quilting inside that construction people wear?
Yeah.
He had one of those, but it was tucked in. But it was too thick to be tucked into his pants, but he still had made the effort to tuck it in.
He's trying to get a formal look out of that.
And it was buttoned all the way up to the collar. And he gets up, he gives me a kind of look. I'm like, holding my breath because it's so horribly disgusting in there. He gets up to the sink and starts washing his hands, which is nice. I didn't expect that.
Well, yeah, he's a professional.
He kind of shoved me out of the way, and I was drying my hands on the paper towels, and then he gets out a comb from his back pocket, and he slicks it in the sink, and he starts combing his hair back. And he really slicked it back. He got this just ironclad part that he was working on for quite a while, and by this point, I don't know if I'd just gotten used to the smell or whatever, but I wanted to stick around to see what this guy was going to do. And he's looking at himself in the mirror. He's licking his fingers and smoothing back his eyebrows. Like, he's really getting himself together. Oh, and you got a date tonight or something? And I wasn't trying to be facetious. I'm sure
it sounds like
it could have sounded facetious, but he wasn't aware of the facetiousness that might have been inherent in that comment. And so he went, just trying to look my best. All right, then. Good. Keeps combing his hair. And I said, just get a haircut? Yeah, I did. It's like, oh, where'd you get that? And I guess he got it at the Mission. I guess they give people haircuts.
Well, makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So he was pleased with his hair. He was combing it back. He stopped for a second. After he had observed himself in the mirror and was pleased with what he had seen, he looked down at his pants, sort of gave a sigh, sort of a resigned sigh, like, ugh, got shit all over my pants.
No.
I looked down. There's a smear of diarrhea from, like, the back of his pants all around to the front of the crotch and then dripping down his leg.
Oh, buddy.
After all that work, after all that effort, I don't know if it was all just splashback from the epic defecation session that he had just engaged in. It looked fresh. It looked new. And
I assume it probably was, considering what you just heard.
Yeah. So I left when he began to unbutton his pants and take them off in order to wash them in the sink. Later on that evening, as I was outside of another local bar called Caps, he was standing outside by a car. His pants were clean at that point.
Oh, really? You couldn't even tell anymore?
They were still damp. There was like a big wet swath.
But they weren't brown?
No.
No.
He had cleaned himself up. he was talking to these two college douchebags, and he had kind of this like sort of voice, and he was discussing his business venture that he was engaged in, where he was selling these recorders, you know,
like the kind you play when you're in elementary school. Yeah,
hot cross buns on the recorder.
Yeah, sure.
And the guys were these drunken idiot college guys, and they were trying to make fun of him while they were talking to him, kind of that homeless idiot, and they ask him questions, and everything he would say they would laugh at. You did
ask him earlier if he was going out on a date, so
yeah, but I wasn't laughing in his face like they were. But he, of course, didn't seem aware. He gets out one of the recorders and he starts playing.
Oh, no.
The college douchebags who were so dismissive of him, laughing in his face earlier, they suddenly get quiet and they start listening. Like, you can tell they're really listening to this music. And one of them taps his friend on the shoulder. They both look at each other and give each other a nod. And then one goes, "That's beautiful." And they're both overcome with emotion of the homeless man playing the recorder. And they were completely sincere.
This is some intense neorealist cinema right here.
It's really fucking weird.
It's amazing.
And
it's a beautiful moment.
Well, I was waiting for the punchline, like waiting for them to be like, fucking with you, or like just give the guy shit. But they were overcome with emotion. They were amazed.
I kind of like this homeless guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's charming. He has his problems.
He's trying his best. He's trying to put himself together. He's got this this business. I don't know what the business is going to entail. He's going to sell people recorders.
Well, it's so difficult because basically the only people ever buying recorders are school administrators.
Right.
So he's going to have to get into a school and sell them, which seems unlikely that someone's going to buy them from a homeless person.
Right. But maybe that's why he was trying to be so well groomed.
Are we going to hear about him getting shot up at a local middle school, like by the officer there?
He had a recorder in his hand.
Yeah. I thought it was a gun.
So he's the only candidate for Street Freak of the Week, so obviously the crowd goes to him.
He's a winner. He would have won even if there was another candidate.
Yeah, so congratulations, Mr. Well-Groomed, Shit-Stained, Recorder-Playing Homeless Man. You've been selected as the Street Freak of the Week.
God bless you.
Our hats are off to you, Mr. Homeless Man, because you've been selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week. Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
All right, let's get right into Celebrity Minute. Our very first story this week. Daryl Hannah arrested, charged with trespassing.
Haven't we had this story before?
That was actually Lucy Lawless. She was arrested when she was camping out on an oil ship.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Have we not had Daryl Hannah doing anything?
I don't think we have.
Oh.
But I know Daryl Hannah has been arrested in the past. She was protesting the Keystone Pipeline in Washington, I believe, before. This time she was also protesting the Keystone Pipeline, but she was arrested on a ranch in Texas. She was arrested Thursday after she and an area landowner, Eleanor Fairchild, did their best to block construction on the Keystone XL pipeline, which is being built to transport crude oil from Alberta, Canada, to Texas's Gulf Coast. The two women reportedly stood on equipment located on Fairchild's Winsboro, Texas farm. Hannah was arrested and charged with criminal trespass. I'm so fucking sick of idiot celebrities, especially Daryl Hannah, who doesn't really have a career anymore, and I'm sure that's why she's doing these kinds of things. First of all, why are they protesting the Keystone Pipeline? I still haven't been able to figure out why people are opposed to this.
I think it's because it might spring a leak. Is that why people don't like pipelines?
I don't know. My impression is they just don't like oil. So they're going to protest anything that has anything to do with oil.
It's a combination. They don't like corporations, they don't like oil, and they don't like ducks being drowned in oil.
Would they rather us buy our oil from the Middle East?
Well, I'm sure they'd rather us not use oil at all.
Well, I know
in
their ridiculous utopia lollipop world, they don't want us to use any fossil fuels whatsoever. But we live in a real world where we need fossil fuels. We have to use fossil fuels. We don't have any viable alternative right now to fossil fuels. So shut the fuck up. Let us build a goddamn pipeline from Canada, our friends to the north, instead of buying it from assholes who fund terrorists in the Middle East. Does that make any fucking sense to you, you idiot? It just drives me insane.
It's not probably that practical, yeah. I'd agree with you. It's not really much of an energy policy to just stop having energy.
We're looking at the mugshot right now. There's a combination of self-satisfied, smug, fuck you, man, kind of. Yeah, just shut the fuck up, Daryl Hannah.
Take that, Daryl Hannah. God.
I'm getting angry with these people. They sicken me. Next story. Nicki Minaj threatened to shoot Mariah Carey, claims Barbara Walters.
Really?
The new American Idol judges are Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj, and Keith Urban, I believe.
Really?
And they're starting to film the first auditions when they have the judges auditioning people who've made it past the producers. And there was some video that TMZ posted. I was going to play the audio, but you can't really hear anything. It's Nicki Minaj cursing out Mariah Carey because they were disagreeing about one of the contestants or something.
Yeah.
And all you can hear is like a bunch of background noise and Nicki Minaj going, fuck me, wow. What wasn't caught on camera was as Nicki Minaj left and started walking backstage, she was like, if I had a gun, I'd shoot that bitch. This is what Barbara Walters claims. Let's get into the story here.
I think that was probably hyperbolic. I don't think she was literally going to shoot Mariah Carey.
She said that, actually, I guess this was from an interview with Carey, or at least she had spoken to Mariah Carey, and she said that when Nicki walked off the set, multiple people heard her say, if I had a gun, I'd shoot that bitch. And she said that there were staff members that heard, hairdressers, producers, and other people. She said she's very concerned. She's with her twins, Moroccan and Monroe, and doesn't feel that anything would happen, but Nicki is unpredictable, and Mariah says she can't take a chance and has hired extra security.
Oh, please.
Like, they really think Nicki Minaj is going to bring a gun on set and shoot her.
That would blow up Celebrity Minute, though, wouldn't it?
I think
the story.
The whole point is I'm sure the producers of American Idol love this because they're like, oh, we have two feuding judges.
Yeah.
Is it going to explode on screen? And I'm sure they're playing up the whole thing. After the video leaked on Tuesday, Minaj had stayed silent, but now she's ready to fight back.
Oh.
With a gun. I don't call TMZ and Barbara Walters because I stand on my own 2 feet. Never needing an army. God is good. Insecurity is as cruel as the grave. I guess it hurts to have the producers tell you to your face that Nicki is the best judge we've had since Simon. Oh, poor you. Keep them lies coming. I don't know.
The producers told her she was the best judge since Simon?
According to Minaj. I'm sure this is all completely manufactured by the producers of the show.
I think Mariah should probably strike first and shoot her first. I think that's the only thing she could do. I mean, that's the only safe thing to do.
Trouble is, if you try to shoot Nicki Minaj in the head, the chances are you're going to hit her wig because there's not much actual head there. All of it's just hair extensions.
When you're shooting at someone, you should always aim for like the largest part to make sure you can get them.
So that would be
Nicki
her
Minaj,
ass.
Yeah, you're not going to miss it. You could be shooting in the other direction and probably hit
but that's
it.
all just a bunch of adipose tissue. It's not actually going to hit anything necessary.
Well, she's going to need something that's a really high caliber weapon.
Actually,
maybe an elephant gun.
Wasn't she supposed to have like ass extensions or hip extensions or something?
That is the rumor. The rumor is that that's artificial.
Why would anyone purposely do that?
I think it's a thing that goes on now. I've heard about this. They're one of these weird giant ass things.
The African American population?
I don't think
there's a lot of white chicks with giant asses and people going, damn.
Oh, I think sometimes African American gentlemen are.
Well, maybe.
But the whole like getting something actually built in there. We should actually look into this for the show because I don't know how it works or what you put in there if you put bean bags back in there and just pack them in. But it looks odd because I think your body is like normal on the top and then it just bows out.
It's this weird wasp ass
down to like normal legs too. So it's just like this big thing, just like
it's not a good look.
No, it's a terrible look.
I've tried to have various black friends explain to me.
Tried to have various black friends, yes.
Well, that too. But I've had some in the past.
Yeah.
Especially when I lived in Los Angeles where there were actual black people. You ask them, they're just like, oh, it's hot, man. Why?
But I mean, that's just an aesthetic choice, though.
I guess. But it's gross.
I mean, it's gross to you.
Yeah.
But your frail, like, sickly, skinny chicks are probably gross to them.
Well, yeah, I know they are. But it works out fine.
But biologically, if you're looking to, like, pass on your seed and deliver a baby out of this, you want the one with a big butt, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's really the case.
I think that's true.
You want a large opening, but it doesn't mean that their ass has to be fat. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Next story.
Creed singer Scott Stapp, rapper T.I., quote, saved my life, unquote, after suicide attempt. Really?
It's a very odd juxtaposition of two completely different people. Scott Stapp, or Stapp, I like Stapp better. Creed, one of the most obnoxious bands in the world, and then T.I. What did T.I. do? The whatever you like, well, you can do whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've
heard about T.I., but I'm not sure about any of his music.
Yeah, I think it's that one. Apparently, Oh, on VH1's Big Morning Buzz on Wednesday, Scott Stapp was promoting his new memoir, Sinner's Creed. That's very clever. He reveals that he attempted to commit suicide at a Miami hotel, but was saved by T.I. He had checked himself into a penthouse at Miami's Delano Hotel and was in a prison of alcohol and drug addiction.
Yeah.
He jumped over his balcony, fell to the floor, fractured his skull, and breaking his hip. And after lying there for 2.5 hours, T.I. showed up.
Just happened to show up at...
I guess.
Wait, he jumped off of what balcony?
He jumped off the balcony from his room in the hotel.
And no one noticed him for 2 hours? Then T.I. just happened to wander up on him?
He walked in, said that there was blood falling to T.I.'s feet, and he looked up. He saw Stapp, like, laying on the ground, bleeding, and Stapp said, "Roll Tide?" And then he looked at me and put two and two together and really saved my life. Put 2 and 2 together.
Well, I think the blood and the horrible, like, injured person.
So apparently he jumped off a balcony. Nobody noticed. Or maybe they did and they just didn't give a shit.
The blood was dripping down onto
I don't know. Maybe he
so
fell
jumped
onto
from one
another
balcony onto another balcony?
I'm not sure.
And then T.I. happened to have the room below that one.
Maybe.
And then blood was dripping down the balcony. And rather than cry for help, he said, "Roll Tide." And that meant that T.I. knew he needed help?
I don't know.
This story makes no sense.
I don't know what the fuck happened, but apparently T.I. found him and saved him. I don't
Roll
know
Tide
if he
is like the
gave him
motto
mouth
of the
to mouth.
University of Alabama, like
Yeah, well, there's
sports
something
teams.
about them wearing Alabama hats or something. I don't know. This is very weird.
Oh, we got to
story.
get and find out more about the story. We have to
Yeah.
like see a mock-up of what actually happened.
But this isn't the first time that T.I. has helped a suicidal person. After
When
hearing
he
on the radio
got
about a man
stabbed
who was
again.
threatening to jump from the 22nd floor of a building in Atlanta, he went to the scene to help police. I told him it ain't that bad. It'll get better. To put the time and effort into making it better. I just reminded him it looks bad right now, but it can turn around. I love the idea that T.I. is sitting there with like a police scanner, and whenever he hears of somebody trying to kill himself, he's like, "Well, that's a job for T.I." And he goes to the scene, and there's some like white accountant or something about to jump off a building. He's like, "Hey man, I'm T.I." Who the fuck are you?
But the thing is, so he showed up and like, he told the cops, "I'm T.I. I want to talk
And they're
to
like,
the-"
"All right, T.I."
And
we
T.I.
had
like,
our
walks
normal,
onto
we
the
had our
balcony.
psychiatrist, somebody who's actually been trained in talking
negotiator,
down
yeah.
jumpers, a negotiator. But you're T.I., so we're going to have you go up. And I guess it worked.
That doesn't make any sense either. That's crazy. Why would they let T.I. talk to the suicidal person at the building?
I don't know.
All of this story is completely insane.
That's why I liked it.
Blood dripping down.
I know.
Roll Tide. Oh, people, if you have any more information about this, please tweet it in, because this doesn't make any sense.
All right, our last story for this week's one that's sure to piss me off. Chris Brown admits that he loves both Karrueche-tron and Rihanna, and basically he has ended it with Karrueche-tron, and he and Rihanna are getting back together.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that should make you really happy.
Oh my god, I find this irritating. It's the same thing where the white trash couple with their little feral daughter that I was angry about wanted them to just be euthanized and put them out of their misery so the daughter could actually have a real life. People who beat their girlfriend should also be euthanized.
But, again, you, the person that doesn't believe that our Pat and K-Stu are really having a relationship,
Yeah.
you still, like, buy into the fact that there actually is something going on here.
Well, you've heard of all the weird backstory with Rihanna's dad, where he was abusive to her mother.
But this is you just buying into it, though.
No.
Right?
But I do believe that she is that fucked up that she's, like, in love with Chris Brown. I do.
Okay.
Because, okay, there's one thing about our
Well,
Pat
then how
and
can
K-Stu.
our Pat be so in love with K-Stu that he wants to be with her?
Because there's something to be gained.
There's so much to be gained by this
But
relationship.
Rihanna is like at the top of the pop world. It's not like
Chris
she
Brown is
needs-
very high on the pop world.
He is as well. So it's not like they need.
And she's keeping her name out there by doing things like this.
Yeah, but her
And
name's
so is
already
he.
out there.
And the next time they break up too, it'll be a big story.
So you're convinced that this isn't real?
I'm not convinced that like this is any more or less real than any other relationship.
Well, we do know it's real that he beat the shit out of her. We do know that. So
do know that.
even if this is false, just the fact that she would have anything to do with him, even if it is for publicity, is ridiculous to me.
Well, it's callous, yeah.
Yeah.
If she's just doing it for publicity. But, I mean, that's what people do. And it's working because she's manipulating the media and she's in the news all the time. And she got in the show again.
Brown posted a drunken clip, a video clip on Twitter, I believe.
You can do that?
I guess. I've never done that. In the clip, he admitted he was a little drunk, but he wanted to set the record straight about falling back in love with Rihanna.
Oh, boy.
Y'all don't really get the real Chris Brown, so I like to just be honest, man. I'm stressed out. That's just shit.
That's just real shit, man. When you share history with somebody, you tend to fall in love with somebody else. It's kind of difficult. Is there such a thing as loving two people? I don't know if that's possible, but for me, I feel like that. Y'all are probably like, what the fuck's he talking about right now? But I'm just saying, I'm being real. I don't want to hurt either or. I'm not trying to be a player. I'm not trying to be a dog. None of that. My mama raised me different. She did raise him to beat women, but she didn't raise him to fuck with their affections. I just can't. It's too much sometimes. So basically, Carucci found out about this through Twitter again. I don't know what kind of relationship they have where he makes out with Rihanna at the VMAs and she hears about it by watching the telecast and then
she has
tweets.
to find out about his new relationship by seeing a
this
video on
was
Twitter.
posted and then people started tweeting about it.
Well, she was probably just going on Twitter and she's like, you can post videos on Twitter? She was just shocked by that. And then next thing you know, she's like, wait a second, you can love two people at the same time?
Well, I feel sorry for old Carucci there. I guess it's not official that they're back together, but it looks like that's the case. Oprah Winfrey has come out and said that she won't judge Rihanna for reuniting with Chris Brown.
Why can't you be as kind and thoughtful as Oprah?
Because I don't have to worry about booking people on my show to interview them. I can say whatever the fuck I want, because none of them are coming on the Warren and Bradley show anyway.
If Chris Brown contacted us via our Twitter account and said, I'd like to come on the show and set the record straight, would we have him on?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you confront him or would you be like fawning?
I would confront him because that would be even better for. See. Here's where the.
Well, the show will be great for our show's popularity.
Here's where the
wouldn't it?
integrity ends and the outrage ends.
Exactly.
Is when you get a celebrity to come on your show.
But that's what they're doing too. You're the hypocrite, man.
Don't talk about being a hypocrite.
But can you imagine if Chris Brown came over here to Bumtown, sat down with us, and we were talking, you were like saying that you're no man attacking a woman like that, and you guys got in a scuffle and we could hear it, and I was like screeching in the background, and that like was played on every network, you know what I mean? It's like a huge thing. That would be great.
I'd be quite pleased.
Our downloads would probably double. At least.
They might at least double. We get 48.
Do you think people would stick with the show? They'd be like, "That's quite an interesting show," and then go back.
That would pull them in, and then
they go back to episode 20-something, and they'd be like, "Oh." So he goes and gets bagels sometimes, and talks to homeless people. Fascinating.
I was going to read quotes from Oprah, but basically she's just saying that I have no judgment about it. That's why I can sit here and have such a great time with her, because I do all my interviews with no judgment whatsoever. If that's how you choose to live your life, that's really okay. No, it's not. Just like to be on the record right there.
Okay, I think we've established that. Right. Your feelings.
I think that's the end of Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
This has been Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
How much do you like sex?
Oh, enough.
Is it a major part of what drives you in life? Like the ability to have sex, the want to have sex?
No, I wouldn't say. I'd say it's a component of my life.
Okay,
I don't think I'm like you. I don't think I'm like desperately sad when it's not available.
And
I think I'm resigned at that time. You know, I seem to get by okay.
Well, okay. The reason I ask is if the world were to devolve into the sort of thing where there were only, let's say, one man for every 100 women.
Yeah.
And a man became like a hot commodity, like a fertile, virile man.
Yeah.
Would that be something that you would love? Would you think that was an excellent thing? Or would you think that on a whole, taken all together with everything else that would happen as a result of that it would be better if the current ratio was maintained?
I don't...
Because you think about, like, there wouldn't be enough garbage men. There wouldn't be enough people pouring concrete, building bridges.
Well, these women would be doing these jobs.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be doing
The thing
it
is,
as
we
well.
would be like queen bees and we'd just be hanging out, right?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, if, let's say it's even like a man for every 10,000 women.
Yeah.
We would be such a precious commodity that we would just have to be sequestered.
Yeah. It wouldn't be that great.
Do you think so?
Because you would...
Would the joy of being able to have sex with whatever woman you wanted repeatedly outweigh the horror of a world without men?
No, because... The thing is, the old saying, right? You show me the most beautiful woman in the world, I'll show you a man who's tired of having sex with her. Is
that an old saying?
That is an old saying.
Where?
I don't know. I've heard it around.
I've never heard that.
You ever heard that saying? But
No.
It makes sense. You know what I mean?
It doesn't really make sense to me.
It's the nature of things. But the thing is, if this was happening, right, and you were in the situation and you were having sex with, Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj,
Carey.
Barbara Walters, all America's most beautiful women.
Or.
No. anyone you wanted to.
Yeah.
The girl from the T-Mobile commercials.
Who's that?
I don't know. She's a model.
She hot?
Yeah, very much so.
All right.
And you just pick and choose whichever ones you want, right?
Yeah.
You're having a great time. Eventually,
There's
you
a
just
girl from an Office Max commercial that I really like.
Really?
She's cute, kind of plain in a way, but there's just something about her.
It is interesting when you watch commercials.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, I like that girl from that commercial.
Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Okay. You would eventually just be like, it'd be great for a few days, but eventually it would just be like, oh, this is the way life is, and you just feel the same way about everything. Except for you'd be more lonely because you just have women around all the time.
Oh, you wouldn't have any male friends.
You wouldn't have a normal life, and you'd be really isolated. You wouldn't be able to have a normal existence. You'd sort of be like a celebrity almost if you left your house.
Yeah.
You'd be like the man. Never be like, oh my God, there goes a man.
None of these things sound horrible to me. The things you're describing.
No, it doesn't sound horrible right now. But
Well, do you think we'd be like on a stud farm where it would just be the few fertile men who are around? We'd all just kind of be sequestered together. They would have a lineup. Their women would register like months in advance
to get a chance
to go at us, and then we would be sitting there, on our velvet cushions, and we'd look at the screen, and they would show us these different women, and we'd be like, yeah, nah, meh, because they don't automatically.
You're hoping it turns out that way, rather than the fact that there's 10,000 women and only one of us.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they fucking enslave us and make us do what they want.
Well, we're still men.
Overpower us.
Yeah.
Just remove the sperm in a way that doesn't have anything to do with sex and just inseminate each other, and we're just like hooked up to these machines and pumping out semen all the time. That seems more likely. But you're thinking about them. They're going to be like, oh, we'll put up a screen for you, and we'll let you choose which one you're attracted to, not the one that's the best one to reproduce with because it's smarter than the other ones.
Well, I still say one man for every 10,000 women. We could still take them on.
You think you would prefer that life to the life you have now?
Yeah. Well, we're exploring the idea. I'm not dead set one way or the other, and I don't know how I would make this plan come to fruition if I did decide that this is the way to go. I would just have to start killing every man I found, I guess,
to make this happen.
Yeah, it would take a long time.
What a plot that would be, huh? Oh, alert Hollywood! Screenplay idea. You work in a lab in a white coat,
right?
Not getting any play from the ladies.
Right. Because I'm a nerd, I'm smart.
Yeah, some of the other lab technicians are a little better looking, have a little bit cooler glasses.
Right.
And they get at least have sex with some of the more nerdier lab technicians that also work with you, but you get nothing.
Right.
So in your spare time, when you're not having on a date, you go into the lab and you're working on a virus that just kills men.
Right.
But you, of course, inoculate yourself.
Right.
And you send it out in the world, and it works. Next thing you know, you have the scenario, except for you and a couple other men that, were able to figure this out, or were able to survive.
Right.
And we see how the scenario plays out, and eventually you're very unhappy and you die.
See, that's your take on it, but I'm not sure that that's the case. If this windfall were to happen, would I enjoy it or not? And would you enjoy it? So you're saying definitely not. You would not be.
No, I would enjoy it. I mean, right off the bat, I think I would enjoy it. But the thing is,
and what would your girlfriend think? Your girlfriend would have to be like, all right, I know that he's one of the few men who survived, and so I'm going to have to accept the fact
that this is what I do. But the girlfriend's still like the one that I have the relationship with.
You still go home to her every night.
Ones.
And you're like, God, I'm tired.
Yeah,
what
I'm
a day at
exhausted.
work.
I'm going to bed. I need a bath. This is the thing. This is just the nature of existence, though.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you would do this for a couple weeks, then some mornings you get up and be like, I don't want to do that
You're
anymore.
going on the premise that too much of a good thing.
Yeah, because it's true.
Which I still have never really. I've never experienced too much of a good thing.
I think you may be experiencing too much of a good thing right now.
Like what?
Let's say you were in some other life and you were on a desert island. You didn't have any food or water.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there just like looking up at the sun saying, God, if you just give me enough food and enough water and some free time in my own apartment, I'll be happy as a clam. Mm-hmm. And here you are in that situation. But now you want to eliminate all the men of the world so you can have sex with every single woman you want to at any time.
I'm not saying I want to do this. I'm just exploring the option.
If it came to that, you still wouldn't be happy.
Well, I probably would never be happy. I've come to accept that fact. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing or where I am or what's going on in my life. I'm never going to be happy.
But if you had to choose,
but I'd be distracted, and that's the point.
Any scenario that would bring you the most joy, you think that would be the scenario that would bring you the most joy?
Not necessarily.
Which one would it be?
I don't know. That's a good question.
But if it's so important to you to have sex with multiple women all the time,
I'm not saying it is.
So you did.
Well, I think it's important for a lot of men to have sex with multiple women, but we don't often get to do that, and we accept that fact. It's something that's in the back of your mind. Like, well, wouldn't it be great if every hot woman in the world wanted to have sex with me? And even if guys don't sit around talking about this all the time, well, we kind of do, but we never think of it as a realistic scenario. But if this scenario that's kind of pie in the sky for every man were to actually happen. is it something that we would actually appreciate, or is it, like you say, something that would just become blasé and...
You'll become blasé eventually. You wouldn't be doing this for 15 years and still be, like, as excited about it 15 years later as you were on that first day. The first day would be amazing. You wouldn't know what to think, right? You'd be like, this is the greatest thing ever. Turn on that screen, you're just flipping through being like, that's the one I want. You know what I mean? But it gets back, like we've talked about before, the access to pornography that people have now, right?
Yeah.
You know, a couple decades ago, anything... Any CD
when I was a little
has...
kid and I would find some like ripped up Hustler or something by a dumpster, I'd be like, oh my God. And actually I was actually disgusted by it because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But now you just have access to anything.
But could you imagine
you get desensitized to it. You don't
some
even care anymore.
lonely man in his little apartment in Bumtown 50 years ago, maybe in the same apartment, and he would eventually, once in a while, once a week maybe, he'd go down to the adult bookstore and get like some like nudie shots of a woman, and that would be the greatest thing for him ever. And he has this dream, this hypothetical thing, where he's like, what if there was a screen on my desk where I could just see the most outrageous pornography, video of it, any time of day, as much as I wanted, constantly? That would be the dream world. That's the world you're living in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you want...
It is fantastic.
Exactly. But, I mean, you know what I mean?
See, all these scenarios you're talking about, well, if you...
But you take it for granted.
If you were on a desert island... Well, I do.
But if the pornography was gone now...
Yeah.
Do you think you'd miss it?
I don't look at that much pornography.
Exactly. And you wouldn't need that many women either.
Yeah.
It's just the idea, like, the first day you got the pornography, you'd be like, doing nothing but watching pornography. The first day you had access to the women... You get the T-Mobile girl. You get all the attractive girls.
The Office Depot or Office Max, whatever.
The Office Max one. You know, they're all these girls from commercials. You're having sex with them, but eventually just become the way it is.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
What if it was the opposite? What if there were only a few women and all the men had to fight each other for them constantly?
I would opt out. It's not worth it.
You wouldn't bother?
I don't want to like fight.
Would you just go gay?
No. I wouldn't do that either. We discussed this before too.
Yeah, we have.
That's not the.
If you have no option,
the options in life aren't like
men.
Sex with women and then like sex with men, then no sex. It goes sex with women, then no sex.
Yeah.
Then, if you have to, no sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I feel the same way. It's not sex with women. Oh, there aren't any women, so I'm going to have sex with a man. Oh, there aren't any men, I'm going to have sex with a sheep. Oh, there aren't any sheep, I'm going to have sex with a duck.
Yeah.
No. If there's no sex with women, there's no sex.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I agree with that.
I'm perfectly content with that.
But let's say the scenario, like you said, is there's one woman, 10,000 men.
Yeah.
And you can enter into some sort of like battle royale, Hunger Games style contest with men to have an opportunity to have sex with a woman.
Yeah.
Would you enter into these like combat games?
Now, would they necessarily have to be combat games? Because we live in a society now where you're
going to play chess against people?
Yeah, maybe.
No. That's not. We're not going. Of course, you would play the chess because there's no consequences if you lose.
Yeah. Well,
I'm saying you're going to lose your life.
Yeah. What else am I going to do?
But see that implies to me that sex is very important. If you're willing to die rather than not have sex with a woman.
Yeah. Well, I'm not having any sex with women right now, and I'm still alive. So,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess when it's put to you in that way, though, because the stakes become way higher. Right now, it's like there's a possibility I could have sex, but if I lived in this horrible dystopia where there was only one woman for every 10,000 men, then I would probably fixate on it because I knew that would be my only chance to ever have sex. So the importance would become inflated in my mind.
Yeah, it would, and then it would be the only thing you wanted to have in life. Yeah.
Well, let's hope to God it never happens.
I hope that neither of these scenarios happen. Let's keep the genders about equal, and that seems to work out for the most part.
The women are on the rise.
There's slightly more of them, right?
And it's good. More of them are getting born every day.
Over men?
Yeah.
How does that work?
The percentage is increasing. They think it's because of all the hormones and shit.
Don't the Chinese people abort a lot of females?
Yeah, they're not keeping up the pace.
Come on, China. Although I guess you want them to keep the women coming, right?
Yeah.
This trend may work out for you eventually if it really dramatically shifts that way.
I just have to live long enough.
Yeah.
And still be able to actually have sex. All right, then. I think that's enough for the Warren and Bradley Show for this week. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
I'm the other host, Warren Van.
Saying...
have sex with a woman if you can. I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense. All right.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast@warrenandbradley.com.